What is going on, everybody? We are live. Let's make sure we're live here. It says we're live. Let's double check. Oh, we're live. We are live. So Logan, if you I know you'd mentioned you want to grab that and you want to get that in your Discord. So do you have that link? If
Yep, I'm
not, I'll
sending that over right now, and then I'm
perfect.
gonna retweet this on Twitter as well.
Oh, dude, you know the way to do this. I like you already. So
I'm a seasoned pro when it comes to this stuff.
absolutely. So we are live. Like I said, we are here with Wiz Bets. This is Logan. Logan, tell the people about you.
Hey guys, I'm WizBets. Otherwise, my real name is Logan. I've been covering the NBA, MLB, and NFL for about 3 years now, two officially with WizBets and Dub Club. I mainly focus on player props, but I do have a special in spreads, and we'll talk about some playoff series spreads as well. I'm just excited to be done with the the NBA regular season. We're up 50 units, but man, March and April were tough to watch just from a fan perspective.
It's like you said, it's a tough watch. You know, you got players going down left and right. So especially if you're looking at props, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's not an option. All right, where do we go? So yeah, I'm time to focus in on some playoff basketball, and we are focusing specifically on Saturday. I know I caught Logan off guard, little how the sausage is made. He's like, he's got everything for his Friday. I was like, that's great. We're gonna talk Saturday. He's like, cool, pivot, got this. So Logan, we appreciate that. But we're gonna give people some time. I know you're prepped, and we're gonna give people some time to get in some of this knowledge you have, getting ready for the Saturday slate, which is set. We've got 4 games that you're gonna kind of talk us through. You know, player props, just the games themselves, what you're seeing, what you like, what you don't like. In the you know this, but just so everybody else knows, we're talking this through a chalkboard lens. Like, so it's going to be the things you see, but we appreciate the sponsorship from Chalkboard here, and we're going to have some bets. We've got a special bet that Logan and I have talked about. We'll get to that one too, and we're going to get all this stuff out. So Logan, I'm going to shut up because I like the NBA, but you know the NBA, so they don't want to hear from me. They want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, the play-in has been phenomenal for the NBA. I give Adam Silver a lot of heat, but the play-in has been amazing. The competitiveness has been awesome. So the playoffs, very exciting to bet on. Before we talk about any of the games, which we'll start with Toronto and Cleveland in a little bit, for the people that don't know me and know my betting style in the playoffs, there are 4 things that I really want to mention if this is your first time betting in the playoffs or you've had history where you've really struggled making profit in the playoffs. The number one thing that I recommend is lowering your units to about half. How I describe this to people that don't understand why I lower my units in the playoffs, it's like if you're buying a house. If you're in the housing market trying to buy a home and there's only 2 houses on the market, but there's tons of people wanting to buy those 2 houses, you probably don't love either of those houses. And the price is just jacked up for them because there's so many people putting in offers. But if you are looking for a house and there's 20 or 30 houses on the market and only a few people are trying to put offers on them, you can really pick and choose which house you want to buy and then maybe lowball an offer and see if you can get an accepted offer. That is the exact comparison to NBA playoff betting. This is the most bet on games in the NBA season, and we only get a selection of 2 to 4 of them. So these lines are going to be sharp. There's going to be high volume on them. So why invest the same units you did in the regular season when you were getting 7 to 10 games per day and you're able to bet on like the Pacers versus the Jazz, you know? That's the first thing I recommend. Just be careful with your bankroll management. The second thing is that this is a completely different season. A lot of people you're going to notice use regular season data, which I will be using a little. But like if somebody goes over in 4 or 4 games in the regular season, that does not mean they're going to hit the playoffs because the playoffs is a completely different sport in the NBA. Rotations are shorter. People save certain schematics for the playoffs. So you're going to see stuff thrown out there that you haven't seen in the regular season, which is why I recommend my third most important thing to be profitable in the playoffs: watch the games. I know in the regular season, not many people want to watch Ace Bailey take 20, 30 shots on the Jazz. I get that. But in the playoffs, the number one way to make money is to just actually watch the games, see what's going on from a rotation, a schematic standpoint. Maybe I know a couple years ago, Hartenstein got played out of the playoffs for the Thunder, and in later ends of some series, he wasn't getting any minutes anymore. If you noticed that ahead of time, you could have made money on the books. And the last thing that I'll mention before we talk about the games, and it kind of relays what I just mentioned, take advantage early in the series. The least sharp these lines are going to be is games 1 and 2 before we know what the schemes are, what the rotations are, and etc. So if you're going to do high units, do it in the first and second games and actually watch them. Might be some really good live betting opportunities as well. I know people in my Discord know Diogo is a fantastic live better. Trust me, we're going to have high volume in live betting as well. So before we get into anything, I just wanted to put those 4 things to keep in mind when betting on the playoffs. Lower units, regular season doesn't matter. Watch the games and take advantage early.
I love the way you talk about supply and demand too, essentially, like where you just have, less games. And so just being aware of how to, handle your bankroll management and all that with less units. That's a great way to go about it. And I'm sure the people in your Discord, like you said, they're relying on some of that information from you.
Yeah, and I mean, because we're doing lower units per play, means we can maybe go a little bit higher on how many plays we do each day. Like I know on Tuesday we went 3 and 2, but we only deployed like 3 units in total throughout 5 plays. So we can go a little bit higher in volume because we are betting lighter units. It's just about being smart on that balance is all.
All right, last question. I'm going to let you cook on some games. You'd mentioned to me before we jumped on, you're in the Milwaukee area. Is it easier for you not having a team in the playoffs? Because that was a rough season for y'all up there.
And trust me, the Discord knows how rough it was for the Milwaukee Bucks. I nuked them a few times and it did not go well. Actually, yeah. It's really easy to bet on teams you know well in the regular season because you can take advantage of like, oh my gosh, Cormac Ryan. Nobody knows who Cormac Ryan is. We could take advantage of his lines. But in the playoffs, man, it's really tough to not be in tunnel vision and be like, I just want my team to win. I got very lucky in the baseball last year with the Brewers beating the Cubs in that series. I mean, so much money on the Brewers because it ended up being a good series for them. And then I got screwed against the Dodgers because we got swept versus the Dodgers and I lost a ton of money on the Brewers. So yeah, absolutely going into this without having any rooting interest and just from a pure ball knowledge perspective, 1000% not having your team in there helps.
Separating capper and fan. That's always tough. Like,
hey, and if Giannis leaves, I don't have to worry about the Bucks in the playoffs for at least a couple of years. So
I don't know if Giannis leaves. I don't know if you need to worry about the Bucks having an NBA team, but that's a different discussion for a different time. All right, man. What you got for us? Let's talk some NBA.
Yeah, so we're going to spend about 10 minutes on each series and game. And at the end of the breakdown, I'm going to give you all some leans that I love and possibly some official plays and the series spread I like for each series. I'm going to start with Toronto and Cleveland, which I like to call the NBA TV series. There is always that one series every single first round that is just not bet on, gets the noon games, and not a lot of TV coverage. Those are the series you want to bet on, because those are going to have the least sharp lines and the lowest volume. That is Toronto versus Cleveland tomorrow, I guess, because we're talking about tomorrow's games. It's actually a great draw for the Raptors. I would have not liked them against the Knicks, against their size of Mitchell Robinson and Cat. They went 0-4 versus the Knicks, but 3-0 versus the Cavs in the regular season. Now, that 3-0 is with an asterisk because that was before the James Harden trade that has changed everything for the Cavaliers. Since March 1st, they're 15-6. They are top 5 in offense and defensive efficiency lately. The defense has taken a hit in the last few weeks just because from a spot up perspective, which we'll talk about the Cavs defense and all that. But the main takeaway is James Harden facilitating for Mobley and Allen on the pick and roll has been a godsend. I mean, we were betting Allen PR every single day because of the volume that he was getting from James Harden. Now, on the flip side, Raptors are going into this playoff series kind of cold. Against top 3 East teams this year, they have 1 win in 12 games. They went 1 for 11 against top 3 teams. Against top 10 NBA teams, they went 2 for 18. Among all the teams that have qualified for the playoffs so far, they have the worst record against above 500 teams. But their offense has been a lot better as of late. Now, Quickly has been in and out of the rotation, but RJ Barrett's been great from a spot up. Brandon Ingram is developing into a true number 1 option, and they actually have some depth that I'm interested in this series, which we'll talk about with Jacoby Walter and etc. But the main question for the Raptors defensively is who's going to guard Donovan Mitchell? We know that Scotty Barnes is probably going to be on James Harden from a size perspective, but the Raptors don't really have a true lockdown defender against pull-up guards. Now, they could bring in Walter, they could bring in CMB, they could bring in any of those guys. They're all young, and they're all inexperienced in the playoffs, especially. That is why I love Donovan Mitchell right now in this series. In the playoffs, in 4 of the last 6 playoffs, Mitchell has averaged 29.5 points per game or higher. Mitchell has scored 30-plus points in 12 straight playoff games he's played at least 30 minutes in. This is a guy who's a playoff riser. And in the playoffs, you want to take those isolation pull-up guards. And against the Raptors that aren't going to give up a ton of spot-up opportunities, man, Mitchell is looking really, really good right now. On the flip side of that, I want to fade all spot-up options. Sam Merrill, 9.5 points. He's a defensive liability. I think he's going to get his minutes cut from like Dean Wade, Keon Ellis, Max Strus especially. So his under 9.5 points is actually really interesting. If you could see a live bet, if you see Sam Merrill getting taken advantage of in the first half, and you think, okay, they're not going to play him in the second half, that might be a multi-unit live bet if you can find that specific target. Now, between Allen and Mobley, it's tough to really know who's going to dominate the pick and roll. We have seen the playoffs in the past that Jarrett Allen will get schematically schemed out of a game in the second half and not play many minutes. So I'm waiting to bet on them until maybe game 3 or 4 when it goes to Toronto. I want to see what their minutes and their usage looks like. But really on the Cavs, I'm targeting Donovan Mitchell and I'm fading spot up guys like Sam Merrill.
I love it, man. Like just the way you talk about it, you come prepared. You know what you're looking for. There's some expertise in here and some experience. I love to see it, man. I hope people are listening. I do.
Yeah, I mean, again, for the people that look at graphs, especially and focus on raw numbers, the playoffs is not for you because of these adjustments that we talk about from game to game. Now, if you focus on the Raptors side, it's pretty simple with them. Ingram has to take a ton of shots. In the last 10, 15 games that Allen and Mobley have played together, the Cavs are giving up the most pull-up points in the NBA. No player really in the Eastern Conference likes taking mid-range pull-ups more than Brandon Ingram. They don't really have anyone, unless they put Mobley on him, they don't have anyone with the size to stop the slender man from getting, 7 feet of extension? So he's going to, especially in the fourth quarter, he's going to be taking over in isolation. Right now, he has the 21.5 points line. That is a phenomenal line for him. I honestly would ladder up to 30 if you get decent odds for him. But my favorite Raptors bet by far relies on the health of Emmanuel Quickley. Now, Emmanuel Quickley could play, and I don't think he'll still play high minutes for a couple of reasons. One, if he does start, he's the biggest defensive liability on the court. When you have double guards like Harden and Mitchell, they're just going to try to get matched up onto Quickley. We saw that in the Hornets Sixers game. LaMelo was getting hunted the entire game. My apologies. It was the Hornets Heat game. LaMelo was getting hunted the entire game. You're going to see that in the playoffs. The guys that aren't defensive specialists, they're going to try and get switched onto them. And I could see that happening to Quickley very early in the series. Because of that, I think he actually gets moved to the bench in favor of one of my favorite leans this series, Jacoby Walter. You want to talk about a great spot-up guy? Jacoby Walter is going to be your guy. Decent defender, shot nearly 45% from 3 since the All-Star break. His volume has gone up. And because Grady Dick is basically out of the rotation, I think Walter can not only start, but thrive. He has a 9.5 points and rebounds line, and I really like that. But because Emmanuel Quickley might not get a ton of minutes, man, do I like Scotty Barnes. I love Scotty Barnes over 6.5 assists right now. It's plus value on Chalkboard right now. I believe it's like 1.81, getting close to ×2. It's really, really good odds at the moment. If you want to take the over RA, that's fine as well. But I mean, Scotty's going to get trapped every time he drives. While Brandon Ingram can take those pull-ups in isolation, Scotty Barnes likes attacking the rim. Well, you're not going to be able to do that against Mobley and Allen. So there's going to be a lot of kickouts to RJ, to Jacoby Walter, to Mamu, which I won't get into Mamu because people know that Mamu's my boy. But I really like Scotty Barnes over 6.5 assists. I think it's a really good play.
And just to hammer it home, how did you feel about Ingram? Because what are you seeing on his lineup that's out there on chalkboard?
Yeah, so it's over 21.5 right now on chalkboard. I think you're getting pretty good odds on that one as well. Obviously, the pull-up matchups are going to be there, especially if they target pick and roll against Allen and Mobley, who are going to be playing drop coverage in the paint. Mid-range is going to be open, especially because they're going to try and get the pick and roll with Allen and Mobley and then Harden or Mitchell. And Mitchell and Harden are going to go under the screen every single time. You're going to be able to get an elbow jumper a lot. He might even run isolation against those guys as well on the baseline. I think 21.5 is the lowest we're going to see this series. I think if Ingram scores 25 or 30 in the game one, that line's going to jump to 23.5. If he does it again in Toronto game 3, do not be surprised if Brandon Ingram with a 25.5 or 26.5 points line. I really think that number is going to go up.
So Barnes over on assists, Ingram over on points, yeah.
Yep, and then Donovan Mitchell over points. I like all three of those really a lot.
I love it, and we'll make sure that people might hear that one again later on Dub Club here. You know,
maybe, who knows?
It's possible that might be one to take a look at. We love it.
And then moving to second game, probably the most competitive series on paper, but I have a hot take that we'll talk about at the bottom.
Oh, we love hot takes. We love hot takes.
I don't know how hot it is, but we'll see, because people in the Discord know what I'm talking about. We got Wolves and Nuggets. This is round 3. Nuggets in 2023 won this in 5, ended up winning the NBA Finals. The Wolves in 2024 won this game and won this series in 7, ended up going to the Western Conference Finals. And the Wolves have been to the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back years. They are a team that doesn't look good in the regular season and then turns it on in the postseason. I don't know how they do it, but I watched some film and I found some things that really concern me about this year's Wolves. Number one is not having to kill Alexander Walker. Nikhil Alexander-Walker was one of their best perimeter defenders the last few years and is somebody who showed the potential to score 20-plus points in the playoffs. Now, he's doing it with Atlanta now. He never did that in regular season with the Wolves. We'll get to Nikhil in a bit when we talk about the Hawks series. But I think that lack of perimeter defense is really going to hurt them, and the lack of another 7-footer in Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, is Karl-Anthony Towns the best rim protector in the world? Absolutely not. I'm sure Knicks fans know how good of a rim protector Cat is. But the one thing that they were able to do in 2024 and how they beat Nikola Jokic was putting Cat on Jokic, just press coverage, and then having Gobert lurk in the paint and almost double him in a way, preventing Jokic from getting any open shots. And then they surrounded the three-point line with defenders. In that series, Nikola Jokic averaged around 7 assists a game. His assist numbers were terrible in that series. Now, without Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert plays a little bit off of Jokic because it'll be one-on-one the entire series between them. Plays a little bit softer, and that allows Jokic to just dominate the lower mid-range, elbow jumpers, and even get to the rim and shoot threes. And we saw that on Christmas Day. I don't care too much about the regular season, but when a guy at Christmas, go ahead.
I was just saying, you mentioned, kind of throughout the regular season, but
when a guy on Christmas Day in a competitive game goes out there and scores 56 points, 16 rebounds, and 15 assists, it's going to catch my eye. That Christmas Day game between the Wolves and the Nuggets was phenomenal. So this could be. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just Jokic is exactly what we know he is, and you're getting into the playoffs, and it's like, what is his next? What's he gonna do next?
Yeah, right. Like what can't he do? Jokic is one of the more. It's tough to game plan against Jokic. If you stop the perimeter, which I think the Wolves might do, and you force Jokic to beat you one-on-one, he's gonna average 40 this series. He just is against Rudy Gobert. If you try to double him and you prevent him from doing what he wants to do, he's going to kick it out for threes. He's going to get the backdoor cuts to Aaron Gordon, Christian Braun, etc. So it's hard to game plan for him. So what do you want to allow? I think this series, they're going to play one-on-one coverage with Gobert, and they're going to help off Jokic. They're not going to let Jokic score 30-plus every single game. So there's going to be a lot of assist opportunities for Jokic and a lot of scoring opportunities from one of my favorite players this series, Jamal Murray. Murray currently has the 23.5 points line. He is known as the playoff riser. He has amazing games against the Timberwolves. If they play the drop coverage, similar to the Cavs do, I think Murray's going to absolutely cook them all series, especially if Gobert plays the minutes I expect him to. Now, it's possible that Gobert gets schematically taken out of this series, but with Jokic, I don't think you can do that, because then you bring in Naz Reid, who's a terrible defender and is shooting, I have it right here. Since the All-Star break, Naz Reid is shooting 22% from three. So I don't think Naz is going to play a lot of minutes. And you just don't have the size to take out Gobert. So you get to take advantage of Gobert in those pick and roll drop coverage options. And man, Jamal Murray might have a phenomenal series. So could Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's a playoff riser as well. He's going to be left open from three. He's going to get weak side rebounding because Gobert is going to be boxing out Jokic. I don't think Gobert or Jokic see insane rebounding numbers. So we could see weak side opportunities for like Aaron Gordon and etc.
I think you're dead on too with like Gobert and Jokic, especially on the rebounding side. They're almost going to cancel each other out. Like they're just battling down there, and then it opens it up for everybody else, right?
Yes, and I think somebody that we're not. It seems like it's a high line because he hasn't crossed this line a lot lately. But Anthony Edwards 9.5 RA feels like a mispriced. And by the end of this series, we might be seeing Anthony Edwards at about like 12.5 or 13.5 RA. In the playoffs, this dude is a rebounding machine. It's insane. In the last few playoffs, Anthony Edwards is averaging 7.5 rebounds per game in the playoffs. That's nearly a 100% increase from what he's been doing in the regular season as of late. We've seen it against the Nuggets, his high rebounding numbers. I mean, last year against the Lakers, he went over his rebounding line in every single game. And then against OKC in the Western Conference Finals, 9 rebounds in game 1, 9 rebounds in game 2, and 9 rebounds in game 3. If you have been betting with me lately, you'll also know that the Nuggets love trapping ball handlers in the paint. Whenever Anthony Edwards is going to drive, Jokic is going to come up on him and they're going to double him. It's just what they do. And with your second option being Julius Randle, who's extremely inconsistent in the playoffs, you can kind of get away with that. So if Anthony Edwards is smart, he's going to have wide open kickout opportunities to guys like Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Ayo Dosunmu, and Julius Randle. I know Anthony Edwards, and Anthony Edwards might say, I do not care if I'm getting doubled. I am taking this fadeaway mid-range from 15 feet anyway. And late in the game, he very well might.
And he might hit it because he's Anthony Edwards, but still.
He's Anthony Edwards. He'll still make it anyway, He'll be
why
fading
not?
away. He'll be fading away out of bounds, landing in the stands, and he'll go over the basket in. And he
and like grab somebody's nachos or something, and then just continue on with his day, right?
Absolutely.
It just feels Anthony Edwards to me.
Oh, very much so. So this might be the last time we see a 9.5 RA line for Edwards this series. If he goes out there and he gets 8 rebounds and 8 assists and gets 16 RA, that line's bumped with a 10.5 next game. If it does it again, it's going to bump to 11.5. This is what I mentioned before we started, basically saying take advantage of early in the series. Hey, I might be wrong on Anthony Edwards RA, but if I'm right, this is probably the last time you're going to get 9.5 for plus value. I know on Chalkboard right now, Anthony Edwards is phenomenal odds on Chalkboard. I think it's like 1.82. Like those are pretty good odds on Chalkboard. So I like the Edwards line. But can the Wolves win like that? Can the Wolves win with relying on Ayo and Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels to score for them, and then hoping Jokic doesn't get a triple-double every game and letting Gobert beat him in single coverage? I just don't see it. Because I don't trust Julius Randle to be a number 2 option. Jaden McDaniels has been a little inconsistent lately. So my bold prediction, which I mentioned before we talked about this, I think the Nuggets win in 4. I maybe would give the Wolves one game in Minnesota when the Nuggets are up 3-0. I know a lot of people like the Wolves right now. I see them as fraudulent. I think their 2 Western Conference Finals runs have not been great. And I have the Nuggets as my team to make it out of the Western Conference right now, ahead of the Thunder and the Spurs. No team is hotter right now. Nuggets have won 12 straight games. They're finally fully healthy. We're still a little bit iffy on Peyton Watson and Spencer Jones, but as long as they're healthy for round 2, I really don't care. I like them to embarrass the Wolves, and the Wolves really got to then reconsider in the offseason what they do.
I will say I do think that's bold. Not that I agree with your outcome, but calling for the sweep, that's where it gets bold.
Yeah, I mean, if you go up 2-0 in Denver, and then you go to Minnesota and you win one game, I just don't think the Wolves are gonna have enough heart to win Game 4. I really, really don't. This team has just been up and down all year. And the Nuggets are a terrible draw for them. Now, if the Wolves got like the Rockets or the Lakers or one of the play-in teams, then I would talk about the Wolves maybe moving on to the second round. And I even like the Wolves against a team like the Spurs and the Thunder to maybe win a game or two. I just think the Nuggets are just a terrible draw for how their roster is currently set up.
I love it. Now, well, let me ask this first. Anything else that you want to hit here, and then we're going to do a quick bit of business. Like I think you and your subscribers are going to like.
Anything else in this series? I mean, I would keep an eye on Tim Hardaway Jr. While I did mention that I kind of like some spot ups for Denver, I think Tim Hardaway Jr. isn't good enough defensively, and I think the Nuggets are actually deep enough that they don't have to play Hardaway Jr. a lot. He is at 11.5 points line. When we talk about line movement, if Hardaway Jr. is at the back of that rotation by game 2 and he's playing 10, 15 minutes out of nowhere, which you see a lot in the playoffs, that line's going to move to 6.5. So maybe I'm not taking Hardaway Jr. under in game 1, but I'm monitoring it for sure.
Something to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, and then Nuggets 1.5 spread for the series is on almost every single book. I like the -1.5 a lot. For anything under -150, I'd personally play it for a unit.
I love it. I'm not familiar with your work in the best way, and I'm loving just seeing how your brain. I see your results, but watching how you get here, and anybody who's I'm sure in your Discord is getting these kind of breakdowns from you all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, we're not really mentioning a lot of charts right now. I'm talking about some hit rates, but this is all watching the games and schematic. I've done a lot of film for this, so this isn't just me looking at graphs. I put in a lot of work for the people in the Discord.
Well, here's my suggestion. If you're cool with it, I want to put in a little bit of work for the people, from the Dub Club side. So, how do you think? I'm sure a lot of the people watching right now are already with you, Logan. That they're already bought into the Discord and all the good stuff here. But how do you think they would do if, let's say, if we get to 1,000 views during the stream? Let's do a jersey giveaway.
Sure. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
I pitch in for that.
No, this is on Dub Club. You're pitching in by giving us just this great knowledge, giving these people the wins. So from Dub Club, let's get the stream to 1,000. As far as especially the people that are already following Logan, start telling your friends, get in here. He's dropping knowledge right now, and man, is he ever. We'll get to 1,000. We're gonna do a jersey giveaway.
How can they enter the jersey giveaway if we get to 1,000?
Just be watching. Just be watching. We'll grab somebody out of who's watching, and we'll have them DM us. How's that sound? Sound good to you?
Good to me.
I was gonna say we're making this up as we go in the best way possible. Like, I love this knowledge. Let's do an NBA jersey giveaway. I think the people deserve it.
Oh, I think some people might need that Sandro jersey, but we'll probably pick a better one out for them.
There we go.
All right, and again, we'll mention all of our plays on chalkboard at the end. We're halfway through. We already talked about the Wolves and the Nuggets and Raptors and the Cavs. Now into a series that I think is going to be highly bet on and viewed by a lot of people. But I'm very meh on this series, and I'll talk about a few reasons why. We're talking about the Knicks and we're talking about the Hawks. Now, the Hawks come into this series. We're going to want to talk about flaming hot. They're top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency since March 1st. They've been one of the most consistent teams. They're 16-5 in the last 21 games, and the Knicks are 15-6. Here's the issue with the Hawks. You want to talk about like some teams that got good draws in the playoff seeding? They got a terrible draw against the Knicks. We have Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. Now, if they had some size still, I'd be very okay with it, like Porzingis, Jock Landale, etc. Well, they traded Porzingis for Jonathan Kuminga, who's a non-defensive player. And Jock Landale, a couple days before the season ended, got taken out by Goga Batadze. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it. It was completely intentional, and it's going to be out. Landale's going to be out for like a month because of it, maybe for the whole playoff run. So
Dirty.
yeah, let's go. It's pretty dirty. So they signed Tony Bradley. And do I care about Tony Bradley? No. And what's crazy is he might get some minutes. He might get like 10 minutes because they have no depth right now.
So you might not care about Tony Bradley, but they unfortunately may care a lot about Tony Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, their bench consists, like, there are 3 players that might make an impact on the bench. 4, I'll put an asterisk on 4. Jonathan Kuminga, who's a defensive liability. We've seen it in the playoffs. Tony Bradley. Zachary Reisashir, which has not been able to play in any high leverage games for the Hawks lately. And then do you want to include Gabe Vincent in there? Do you want to include Corey Kispert in there? The reality is that the starting 5 of CJ, Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Onyeka, and Jalen Johnson are going to play 40 minutes nearly every single game, barring foul trouble. Which is funny because they're going against the Knicks, who have been known in the past with Thibodeau to just milk their starters in playoff games. I mean, Josh Hart's infamously known for playing 48 minutes every single playoff game. So I think as the series goes on, the Hawks are going to get gassed. They're going to get tired. You know, if the first 2 games were in Atlanta, I'd give them a break. But I got New York winning the first 2 games, and then by the time they get to Atlanta, it's going to be bad. Now, this series is all about size and tempo control. The Hawks have the 4th fastest pace in the NBA. The Knicks have the 26th fastest pace in the NBA. In the playoffs, it can really be simple sometimes. Which team plays at the pace they want to? I think it's going to be the Knicks because of how much playoff experience they have and how often I've seen them slow it down, especially against the Pacers last year. Even though they didn't win that series, they still, when they were winning games, they were playing at a slow pace, forcing Halliburton to play in half court and not letting transition opportunities happen. The only way the Hawks win this series is if Dyson Daniels and Onyeka force 10, 15 turnovers a game from New York. And I really, really don't see that coming. The only way that the Hawks win this series is if Jalen Johnson is the best Jalen on the court. He's got to be better than Brunson. Hey, Jalen Johnson, the Hawks traded Trae Young, their number 1 playoff guy. This is your team now. You have to step up. And from what I have seen from Jalen Johnson in high leverage games, I just don't trust it yet. I think eventually we'll get there, but man, it's really, really, really tough right now for them. But I think the number 1 X factor for the Hawks, I've mentioned a few things musts for them. It's Dyson Daniels. Now, people made fun of Dyson Daniels, and Matt, I know you're not a big NBA guy, but I'm sure you've heard about Dyson Daniels not being able to hit a 3 a couple months ago.
I might be college first, but I keep up.
Yeah, so Dyson Daniels, really good defender, defensive player of the year candidate, not a guy who shoots threes well. From December to January, he shot 3% from 3. That is not 30%. That is 3%. However,
3%, the shot he's not making, the 3.
Yeah. he was trying to get it going. But this is why I'm bringing him up. In the last 10 games, he's shooting 41% from 3. He has a 3 in 7 of 10 games, and he has 2 threes in 3 of 10 games. He has realized that in the playoffs, teams are going to leave him wide open. He's going to be exerting a lot of energy guarding Jalen Brunson, so he's going to be in spot-up opportunities. I kind of like Dyson Daniels to see high volume in this playoff series. The Knicks are known for leaving the worst shooter wide open. So guys like a Dyson Daniels and Onyeka Okongwu, especially Onyeka, because he's going to be guarded by Cat and Mitchell Robinson, threes could be interesting for each of them. Now, I specifically like Dyson Daniels' PRA because I think Jalen Johnson's going to be in a world of trouble, and you're going to have to let Dyson cook from a facilitating perspective and driving, and weak side rebounding as well. So I just like Dyson Daniels as a whole at 22.5, but I wouldn't mind just taking his threes for Onyeka and Dyson Daniels. But by far, the number 1 player to watch out for this series, and the guy whose line might skyrocket by game 3, Mitchell Robinson. Last year in the Wiz Court, everyone remembers Mitchell Robinson being my number 1 play every single playoff game because they continuously misprice his lines. Robinson will play 20-25 minutes, and he is going to destroy on the glass against the Hawks. You think Onyeka and Jalen Johnson's going to out-rebound him? No shot. I mean, I could see Mitchell Robinson getting 5 offensive rebounds a game. But the number one reason why I like Mitchell Robinson PRA at 14.5 on chalkboard right now, they're going to hack Robinson. They're going to let him get putback opportunities. And then if it's late in the game and Mitchell Robinson is still in the court, he's going to get free throw shots. Now, he might not make them, but I know damn well that he's going to get at least free throw opportunities. So right now he's got a 14.5 PRA line. That line might jump up to 19.5 by game 3. I really like Mitchell Robinson. And then for the series, Knicks in 6. I mean, the Knicks could win it sooner. They could win it in 4 or 5 because I really don't trust this Hawks team in the playoffs. They're inexperienced. This could be a learning step for them. So if they do well this series, they lose, they could be a top 3 seed next year. I mean, look at the Pistons. The Pistons gave the Knicks a run for their money last year, and then they became the number 1 seed in the league. That could very well be the path for the Hawks. I just don't see them doing it this series.
I mean, I'm happy to look at the Pistons anytime right now as a former Michiganders, but that's not a today game thing. But anytime you want to tell me to look at the Pistons right now, I'm in. But okay,
you got to feel good about the Pistons, man. I, as a Bucks fan, watching them continuously draft terrible for years, the rise they've been on is phenomenal. Especially since they lose 21 straight games 2 years ago. The turnaround's amazing.
Absolutely. But I'll do us a favor, because again, I could go down a whole rabbit hole with the Pistons. That's not where we're at. But talking Knicks Hawks here, it sounds like it kind of goes back to one of the points you made when you started the stream, which is get in early, because it sounds like you think by mid-series that these lines could be moving a lot.
Absolutely. Dyson Daniels, his PRA might be moving. Mitchell Robinson, his PRA might be moving. And then there are 2 unders I want people to keep an eye on. Maybe not bet game 1, but monitor them from a live betting perspective. The first one, CJ McCollum. He has a 17.5 points line right now. This is a terrible, terrible draw for CJ McCollum. He'll be matched up against OG or OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges. My apologies. He's got a 17.5 line. Never been good against the Knicks. Never really been good in the playoffs since his Blazers days. I really like his under. That line might drop, especially if they, for some reason, move him to the bench, which I just don't see how they could. The second one is a player that I've been waiting to bet on for a while. Mikal Bridges might get played out of this series. Mikal Bridges has been terrible for the Knicks from an offensive perspective. If he can't hit threes and he can't facilitate, they got better guys to the playoffs. They got Deuce McBride. They got Jose Alvarado. They have options. They don't need to play Mikal Bridges. It's not the regular season anymore. The fact you're making $40 million just doesn't matter.
And could you imagine telling the Knicks when they signed him that you might not need him in the playoffs because he's not playing well enough? Like, that's just not how that was supposed to go.
I mean, they traded their entire future to get Mikal Bridges because you went to Nova. I mean, this is why you don't listen to your players. I'm sorry. Jalen Brunson wanted that trade. Josh Hart wanted that trade, and you traded the farm for Bridges. I think it's really going to burn them going forward, especially later on, because I would much rather have Shamet, McBride, Alvarado, and Robinson in the game in the fourth quarter ahead of Mikal Bridges right now with how he's playing. So if the Knicks are going to go 9 deep, because I think Jose will play a decent amount of minutes in the playoffs. I can't imagine he only plays like 5 minutes on Saturday. So it could be a rough series for Mikal.
Well, I mean, again, just hitting that Pistons moment. I like seeing the Knicks lose, so I'm hoping for a rough series for people like Bridges. But that's personal. That's not gambling. That's just personal.
No, I get that for sure. And then we only got 1 series left, and I'm sure it's the series that everybody wants me to talk about. And I'll be honest, these are the types of series I don't like betting for the sole reason that, again, like we mentioned, you want to talk about people betting on a high volume on just the playoffs alone. You know how many people bet on the Lakers every single year? Do people like the Lakers? Is that no? I don't know. I've never heard a Lakers fan before. I've never met a Lakers fan before. They don't exist. I'm kidding. Yes, Lakers fans are everywhere, and their odds are terrible always. I've always been on Laker unders because of that, and then they screw me. So I'm not a big fan of betting on the Lakers. They're a very inconsistent team, especially with JJ Redick. And now you factor in no Luka Doncic, no Austin Reeves. Yeah, I'm okay. I just want to see how this plays out. So I'll talk about a lot of things that I like for this series and for this game, but I'm probably going to be staying away from game 1 to see how this game goes and then bet going forward, because you have the Houston Rockets. And I'll be very frank. If the Rockets were going against any other Western Conference team, I'd pick them to lose. If they're going against the Blazers, who just made it in from the play-in, I'd pick the Blazers in that series, because the Rockets are coming into this series terrible. Now, they've had some decent... they've had some decent wins, but they just haven't had any consistency since the All-Star break. The defense has been in shambles since Steven Adams got hurt. Tari Eason was the worst shooter alive in March. Reed Shepard can't guard a shadow. Şengün is being told late in the game you're not allowed to shoot the basketball anymore. So it's just KD. Against every other team, like there's a Jaden McDaniels, there's a Tamani Kamara, there are options to guard KD in some way. You're trusting Rui Hachimura to limit KD? Really? I mean, if they go down the double path in that game, which they did in the Christmas Day game as well, they doubled KD a lot. KD had 10 assists. In every game against the Lakers this season, KD has had at least 39 passes and 10 potential assists. This is just how JJ Redick is going to have to guard Kevin Durant, because you're not going to let KD beat you in isolation, especially in the fourth quarter. So the ball is going to be out of KD's hands a lot. A play that I really like right now is Kevin Durant over 4.5 assists. I might ladder that depending on the odds. And that might sound crazy, but this is a scoring matchup against Şengün, not a facilitating matchup, because DeAndre Ayton is the most... Is he even overrated anymore? Or do people know that DeAndre Ayton isn't good?
I think people know.
Yeah. This is going to be a series like I mentioned at the beginning. I mentioned an example while Hartenstein got played out of a series with the Thunder at least a couple years ago or in some series last year. And his lines dramatically changed as the series went on. That could happen with DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes. If Jackson Hayes goes out there and he outperforms DeAndre Ayton in game 1, why would Redick play Ayton game 2 high minutes? So those two players, monitor how they're playing games 1 and 2, because their lines might drastically change by game 3. But this is a game that I think the lines, I just imagine, are going to be all over the place, because no one really, every game could just look different. Doncic shows back up, it changes everything again. Like, I want to mention Doncic really quick, because he's now back in America after getting whatever he got in Europe. I don't know what was going on.
We don't ask the questions. We just say he's back.
Maybe he was trying to salvage his marriage.
Look, he's here. I don't know.
So my theory is, if the Lakers lose the first 2 games, I think it's going to be a lost cause, because those 2 games are at home, I believe. I believe the Lakers are the higher seed. Yes, so they're the higher seeds. So if they lose the first 2 games in LA, Luka ain't playing. They're just going to shut him down and focus on next year. If the Lakers steal 1 game, I could see Luka getting injected with something and then playing games 3, 4, etc. up there. And if Luka does play, I'll be very honest right now. If Luka was active, even with how thin the Lakers are, I picked Lakers to win this series, because the Rockets can't guard Luka. Luka averaged over 35 points a game against them in the regular season. They just let pull-up shooters go off against them. Şengün can't guard the rim, now with no Steven Adams as well. So you throw out Clint Capella out there for 10, 15 minutes. I mean, Luka would dominate this series if he was healthy. That's why I have a tough time betting the series spread as well, because if Luka does come back, I like the Lakers. If he doesn't, I like the Rockets. It's that simple. The only series spread thing I kind of like is the same thing I liked for the Nuggets. It's just a series sweep for the Rockets. I believe it's like plus 550 on DraftKings. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere around that price. I'd throw 0.2 units on it just in case the series sweep does happen, because I think that is more likely than the Lakers winning like 1 or 2 games. Because if the Lakers do win 1 or 2 games, I think they win the whole thing, possibly. But my favorite thing I want to see in games 1 and 2 in Los Angeles, and the thing I'll be looking forward to most tomorrow, we haven't seen LeBron carry a team of nobodies since the 2018, 2017 NBA Finals, when I tried doing it against the Warriors. This is what he does. Like, I know he's older now, but
he can do it.
He wants to do it. Like, we've talked about all year with LeBron about how, oh my gosh, he's really developed his game to be a secondary option to Luka Doncic, and then letting Austin Reeves cook. Now LeBron just gets to be LeBron, and 41.5 PRA for LeBron. I might be interested in that, even though it's a super high line. I mean, LeBron's actually looked really good in these games without Luka and Austin Reeves before the season ended, because they needed to win some games to secure home court advantage. I kind of like how LeBron played a little bit, not being the full central hub of the offense, letting Luke Kennard make that first pass, and then LeBron gets the ball either in the high post or the wing, or a position where he can make another efficient pass or get an open shot. I think JJ Redick knows how to use LeBron this series, and they're going to use guys like Smart and Kennard to bring the ball up, so LeBron doesn't have to exert that energy being trapped going up
One
the
less
court.
thing at least.
Yeah, and then LeBron's obviously going to hide on like an Amen Thompson. That'd be my assumption, that LeBron hides on Amen Thompson because Amen's not going to shoot a lot of threes, and then LeBron sees 10 plus rebounds for just weak side alone because Aiton's not going to get a lot of boards against Şengün. So yeah, I really like LeBron this series right now. I know maybe that's crazy, but
what year is it that we're having this conversation still? You know, like
remember like 7 years ago, we're like, oh yes, finally, LeBron's about to he's
winded down. You know, okay, cool.
It reminds me so much of Tom Brady. You know,
I mean, it's not a terrible comparison. Unfortunately,
yeah, and then. For the Rockets, there's not much to talk about because you're going to see as the series goes on where the minutes are going to go. Is it going to be Shepherd? Is it going to be Jabari? Is it going to be Tari Eason with the 3 points? And then the last thing I'll say about the Lakers, somebody's got to be the second leading scorer. Who is it going to be? My money is on Marcus Smart at the moment, but it might have to be Rui Hachimura, even though Hachimura is going to be guarding Kevin Durant, and then he's going to have to go, average 15, 20 a game. It's just a tough ask for Hachimura personally, but I think it's going to be somebody we don't expect to score a lot of points for the Lakers. I trust Redick. Redick has proven he's a great coach. He could find a way. I think the only player that is severely underpriced right now in the Lakers, Jared Vanderbilt has to play. He just has to. They're like, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get, but 9.5 PRA on chalkboard right now feels like a must play for a guy that has to play heavy defensive minutes and then gets spot up opportunities. I might take Vanderbilt at 9.5 officially.
Again, that it feels bold, but you've got reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You've got thoughts on it. I don't hate it.
Not at all.
Again, and I mentioned it, like it almost still feels weird. Like we're still 2026 talking about, can LeBron lead this series? You know, what else does Kevin Durant need? Like, we've been having these same conversations in some ways for 20 years. Like,
oh my gosh. I mean, this will probably be the last playoff series between LeBron and KD as well. Like that, you want to talk about not really an iconic rivalry, but just two legends of the game going against each other one more time. This will be one of my favorite series to watch. No doubt about that. To bet on, I gotta see how this goes game 1 first. Because I honestly, it's tough to predict because no Austin Reeves and no Luka.
Well, and like you said, you got to see what happens in game 1, but then see who's on the floor for game 2 and what that does to the like every game might just look completely different in the books.
Yeah, I mean, no bets in game 1 probably, maybe like one bet, but in game 2, if I see a ton of stuff, I might be deploying 3 or 4 plays in that game alone.
Well, dude, you broke down so much stuff, and if you're not subscribed to Wiz right now, like what are you doing? We're gonna drop a promo link here too, because we want people to realize what they're missing. Like let's get them in. What do you say about that?
Absolutely. I love that.
All right. So here's the other part. I had said if we hit 1,000 views, we would do a jersey giveaway. We're not quite there, but if it's cool with you and I'm putting you on the spot, I want to have you back on to talk some more NBA, maybe next week, maybe a week or two. We'll get your cord even more notice. We're going to get people in here. Maybe we'll do 2 jerseys that day. What do you say?
We can make it up for the, if we get, I'll make sure to, if we set a set time and we talk about, and maybe I'm with somebody else, or if it's just me, I will say if we get to 1,000 viewers, we'll do 2 jersey giveaways on that stream.
I love this because I want to reward the people that are smart enough to already be rolling with you, man. Because if you're not subscribed, like I said, we're gonna drop a promo link here. Get in with Wiz here. Wiz, do you have a good idea? What promo should we give people? What do you want to give people?
Oh man, NBA playoffs are just starting. Let's go. I mean, I want people in the core to at least experience what it's like, see my thought process, see the community we have. I will forever say the Discord isn't the best Discord because of me. For a Discord that only has about 400 members, we average about 3,000 to 4,000 messages a day. It is the best community. I'm Gambling X. 60% off your first month. That's $10 for 30 days of VIP, 33 cents a day. You get not only me, you get live betting from an expert in live betting who, let me double check what Diogo is up on the month. In the postseason, in the play-in, live betting. This is just live betting, no pre-live bets. He's up 9 units in the last 2 games. In April, before then, he was up 16 units. So in just half a month, he's up 25 units on live betting alone. And these are just mainly half unit bets. This is all volume by him. You get that every single NBA slate. You get 2 MLB cappers. You get a PGA capper that specializes in golf. There's a wide range of stuff on there. So 60% off your first month, $10 for your first month. There's no better value out there.
I love it. And Logan, if anybody even goes back and watches this, they're going to see just how smart you are, how much work you're putting in, and definitely worth $10 for that first month.
I appreciate it, Matt.
Awesome, Logan. I really appreciate you coming on with us. Definitely, like I said, we're going to get you back on here again. We're gonna run this back another one. What do you say?
I would love to. Absolutely.
I would love to, because if nothing else, I'm learning. I look at these lines. I'm like, okay, and like you look at them in a completely just next level way, and we all get better from that. So I appreciate it. Again, Logan, thanks for coming on, dropping those chalkboard lines with us, and we'll talk to you real soon. What do you say?
Absolutely. We'll do, man.
All right, take care.